It would be a sad day if we British stopped being cynical, but you sometimes wonder whether we overdo it. I want you to know that I have nothing against Orlando, though you are, of course, far more likely to get shot or robbed there than in London. My friends, as I have discovered myself, there are no disasters, only opportunities. And, indeed, opportunities for fresh disasters. There are no disasters, only opportunities. And, indeed, opportunities for fresh disasters. There is absolutely no one, apart from yourself, who can prevent you, in the middle of the night, from sneaking down to tidy up the edges of that hunk of cheese at the back of the fridge. I want London to be the most cycle-friendly city on earth, and I want more people to be happy and safe on bicycles. I promise to run the most open and transparent administration in Britain. That is why, with this brutally honest and unprecedented progress report, I am determined to level with Londoners. I love tennis with a passion. I challenged Boris Becker to a match once and he said he was up for it, but he never called back. I bet I could make him run around. Never in my life did I think I would be congratulated by Mick Jagger for achieving anything. I lead a life of blameless domesticity and always have done. It's not reasonable for companies that have chief executives and board members who are paid very considerable sums to subsidize low pay through in-work benefits. I have as much chance of becoming Prime Minister as of being decapitated by a frisbee or of finding Elvis. The Lib Dems are not just empty. They are a void within a vacuum surrounded by a vast inanition. Sometimes I can think of so many ways of expressing myself that I feel I'm an old typewriter, and too many keys come forward at once, and I get jammed. I have more in common with a three-toed sloth or a one-eyed pterodactyl or a Kalamata olive than I have with Winston Churchill. We cannot turn our backs on Europe. We are part of Europe. It is possible to have a pretty good life and career being a leech and a parasite in the media world, gaddying about from TV studio to TV studio, writing inconsequential pieces and having a good time. But in the end you have a great sense of personal dissatisfaction. London is, after Athens and Rome, the third most influential city in history. The beauty and riddle in studying the motives of any politician is in trying to decide what is idealism and what is self-interest, and often we are left to conclude that the answer is a mixture of the two. I think people have a legitimate right to minimize their tax obligations if they can, but they should pay their fair whack. I do think it's important to be transparent. I do think human beings cannot be faulted for wishing to judge themselves and their lives and their achievements by others around them. That is a natural human feeling. My speaking style was criticized by no less an authority than Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was a low moment, my friends, to have my rhetorical skills denounced by a monosyllabic Austrian cyborg. The job of Mayor of London is unbelievably taxing, particularly in the run-up to the Olympics. There's an idea that London is a planet on its own, that it's starting to diverge from the rest of the solar system. We need to combat that. If you turn a blind eye to fare evasion, if you accustom people to getting away with minor crime, you are making it more likely that they will go on to commit more serious crimes. That is why we have so much disorder in London. It is a disgrace. Obama's extraordinary political skills suggest he is more than capable of rising above any personal historical grudges he may have inherited. We can find our voice in the world again, a voice that is commensurate with the fifth biggest economy on earth. I've done 8 years as Mayor of London. I enjoyed it hugely, it was a massive privilege. This is an absolute turning point in the story of our country because I think if we go on with being enmeshed in the EU, it will continue to erode our democracy. That is something that worries me. The Italians, who used to be a great motor manufacturing power, have been absolutely destroyed by the euro, as was intended by the Germans. I believe in immigration. But I feel people think it would be better if there was an Australian-style points-based system so we could actually get a good system. Huge numbers of people in London depend on their cars. Fuel duty is becoming a big factor in people's cost of living. I believe in trying to ease these burdens. I'm not one of those people who believes in going endlessly around finger-wagging and ticking people off for occasional colorful use of language. What I really think about Banksy is I think he's a genius, he's a great artist, and I like his stuff. But he's got to accept it if, from time to time, someone will need to paint over his work. I suppose with houses and assets, then I guess I would be a millionaire. But so are a lot of people. Most people would accept that people come to London from across the world, from all kinds of backgrounds, and are accepted here irrespective of their origins. One thing you have got to do politically is to identify the ties that bind society together and try to strengthen them. I always believe writing is an indispensable part of one's political armory. I've always sort of thought that politics was a high and noble calling and a good thing to do. The beauty and riddle in studying the motives of any politician is in trying to decide what is idealism and what is self-interest, and often we are left to conclude that the answer is a mixture of the two. I think the risks that people see of terrorism are incredibly important, but we are very confident we have got the right people on it and the risks have been minimized. Times have been tough, the economy has been tough. But I want to bring forward a fantastic manifesto for taking the city forwards.